Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to this panel on, good evening from Singapore, and welcome to everyone joining from all over the world. We have people from New York, so good morning. Good afternoon to those joining in from Europe and other countries like Africa, and of course, good evening to our friends in India. So welcome to this panel on responsible tourism incubator for rural women at the 60th Commission for Social Development. It's a very opportune topic that I would say, because two of our panelists are from government, but they might come a little later. Right now, the place that we are talking about where our incubator is located is Udupi, which is on the west coast of Karnataka. And there's a civil unrest going on over there. So they've been called in for meetings. And we were debating whether we should talk about it or not. But I thought, since we are at the, this is a side event at the Commission for Social Development, we must say something about it. So the civil unrest is really about the right to education, and some of the schools had prohibited these young girls from entering the premises and attending lectures because they were wearing a hijab. And those protests have been escalating, and now there's unrest with young men protesting, wearing saffron flags on one end, and you have the young girls who want to enter the premises of the education institutions and are not being allowed to. And so the schools and colleges have been shut, and the government officials are trying to address it. So we are hoping our two speakers will come for this event today, but please excuse them if they are not able to. Irrespective, we have several other speakers who we are going to invite to talk about this tourism incubator and the need for it. And the panel discussion will showcase the results of the incubator that we have been focused on since November of last year. 25 rural women have been undergoing tourism and hospitality life skills. So they are not being trained necessarily on life skills, but really on creating experiences. So taking it one step further. And by creating jobs and building capacity in rural and semi-urban areas, we can start to distribute economic resources. As you know, COVID-19 has showed us the disparity in economic and financial distribution of resources and the disproportionate volume of jobs in urban centers. We need this to change, and in our attempt to build back better, we are equipping people in rural areas and semi-urban areas to be entrepreneurs and job ready, whilst providing them with immediate market linkages. The active involvement of government bodies at the local level is also critical in such programs. And so we've tried to get a range of panelists who I will introduce in a moment, but as I already explained, we might not have the city officials join us, but they did say they would try. So our speakers today are Prathama Manohar, founder of the Urban Vision; Manira Alva, Vice President, SDGs and Advocacy, Vital Voices Global Partnership; Akshay Sridhar, who's an IS officer for the city of Mangalore; and Naveen Bhatt, who is also an IS officer, the CEO of Udupi Zilla Panchayat. So welcome, Manira, Prathama, and I'm going to invite Prathama to start off with a presentation on this particular program that we have embarked upon. Over to you, Prathama.
Thank you, Elsa. Good evening, everyone. Good morning if you're joining us from the other side of the planet. It's so nice to speak to you today. And I'm just going to do a quick presentation just to kind of set the background of this program that we've been co-hosting with Red Dot Foundation, it's essentially a incubator for women micro entrepreneurs. And before I start, I just wanted to kind of lay the kind of genesis of how this happened. And we spent 2020, witnessing how fragile our communities were. I think, a lot of the inequalities, the kind of strains on our system was evident worldwide, whether you were sitting in New York or Nairobi or Mumbai. Um, um, the pre-existing inequalities in our social political systems were evident for everyone to see. And I remember we spent the year talking about inclusive development and the whole series that we'd hosted at that point in time. I'll encourage you to go to our social media pages to have a look at that, because out of great crises comes great opportunities. And we really thought that this is a moment of great reset, and whatever has to come after this has to be about new models of economic development where everybody is taken along, where it's it's a happier, more sustainable world. And as you've seen, this pandemic has obviously hit the economy in a bad way. And when I say economy, I don't mean the capital markets. I mean how it's affected common people. And it's now known and accepted that this pandemic has really affected women and girls more than anyone else. And you can see this within your communities, whether you're in cities or you're in rural areas. And I have always worked on cities. I run a think tank on livable cities. But during this pandemic, I have spent my time in the village, in my native place of Udupi. It's a little town in the southern coast of India. And I know I could see it in my own communities, women who had made great strides, getting jobs, having access to livelihood, thereby freedom, had to come back to their villages, without options for livelihood here. And, you could see that, disconnect between the urban and rural economy. The parts of urban economy continued to thrive, if you're in the IT sector or if you were in some of the knowledge sectors. But if you were, part of the foundation of an urban economy, you were left high and dry. I'll encourage you to look at what happened immediately post the lockdown that was imposed on India in March 2020. We had huge amounts of, the urban workforce walking to their villages, which were thousands of miles away. And I and Elsa were having a whole conversation on inclusive development at that point in time. And one of the big themes that emerged is that, we have to rethink in a way development. And I've always worked on urbanization, and I can't say, you have to stop urbanization. According to me, urbanization is it is a physical kind of manifestation of it's a physical manifestation of economic development, and it's crucial for social and economic development. But there's so much need to think about an integrated model of urban and rural development. I think that the right model of urban-rural linkages is essentially sharing prosperity and ensuring development and social development and growth reaches citizens, even if you lived in mega cities, smaller towns, or rural setting. It's essentially about making, putting well-being and living standards and economic opportunities, in different places. And I think this has been spoken about even in the new urban agenda, that's urban and rural areas should develop in tandem. You may not see the physical, infrastructure in rural areas, and that is fine, but they should be, proper linkages between urban and rural economy. And I think for the first time, I actually got to work in the rural economy. And, we worked on a project to focus on micro entrepreneurship for women. And the goal was, we were very keen to put gender as the part of, any of the new kind of development agenda. So we focused on creating a incubator for micro entrepreneurship, and focused on one economic kind of sector that connects, the consumer market and the rural economy, which was tourism. And what we were trying to do was essentially setting up a incubator, which has a mix of women and men, but we were very clear that we wanted at least 50% of the cohort to be women, and we have had more than that. And we were giving them, basic skills of entrepreneurship, access to mentorship, and the biggest thing that we focused on was creating market linkages, so they can actually make a livelihood out of this. And if you're in India, and in the context of what is happening right now in India, and it's kind of blown up today, it's sad to see what's happening. But for me, the idea of India is about the amazing diversity of things we have, whether it's in food, in our clothing culture, or our traditions, our healing practices. And every 50 kilometers you will walk or drive in India, you will see these amazing, subcultures of spiritual traditions, food, culinary traditions, and cultural activities. And we really wanted to, put that in a box as an experience and connect that to the urban consumer. And that's how this lab was born. It's a community-based and experiential tourism micro enterprise incubator. And tourism is, it's really a great way to a great sector to connect the whole shared prosperity agenda between urban and rural economy, according to me. And like I said, you could actually create this whole place-based experience based on our way of life, arts and food. And in Udupi, we actually focused on that. We were working with local women entrepreneurs who were already craftsmen, who were performing these amazing local traditional cultural acts or making these amazing crafts. And a lot of them were already doing this, but we were just upskilling them in a way. A tourist who comes to a place like this would go back with so much more memories and experiences, because you can experience the local culture and way of life and vernacular customs of the region. And Manira is in New York, but she's also from this district. And she will tell you that we have so many little things that we do, and it's happened for thousands of years, and it's such a beautiful experience. We have, and the local communities still continue to practice it, and we can use tourism to kind of create these authentic experiences. So over the last few months or so, we've identified almost 66 entrepreneurs, out of which almost 35 are women entrepreneurs. And along with the local administration, we've been getting them to design these experiences, giving them soft skill trainings, like, how do you speak? How do you be more hospitable? Or how can you use social media? And, these are, we struggle with it because a lot of things that come naturally to us is not so easy here. The digital divide is real. a lot of them may not know how to use Zoom. And because of the COVID pandemic, we've had to really try to use Zoom for some of our programming as well. And that's been a learning. We are currently working with this group to create a digital marketplace with all their experiences. So whoever comes to the region as a tourist can, go on a hike, take a surfing class, or learn how to make a traditional Mangalorean fish curry. And while that will make tourism more meaningful to whoever visits our region, it also creates livelihood opportunities for the community that is here. And I think it'll make the destination so much more competitive, because it has its own kind of aura and USP, and that's so special about India. And even though we are currently, if you look at our news, we are fighting about our differences. We always actually loved what made us special, because like I said, every 10 kilometers, you'll find a little microculture, and we always celebrated that, especially in our food and, cultural dances and all of that. And even though we are kind of looking at this project as social development in a different way, it is really celebrating the huge amount of diversity and, amazing culture that we have here in India. And I think one of the big focuses for us will be to ensure that the women and the men in this program have access to livelihood. So currently we are focused on creating a digital marketplace and connecting it to online travel portals. So whoever shows up in Udupi can get a cooking lesson from some of these women, or learn how to surf. And we have a couple of entrepreneurs who are here, and Disha and I don't know if Tanvi has still joined in. They will be. Tanvi is here. So I'm going to ask them, should I do that now, Elsa, or should we go?
So we'll call them after some time.
Okay, we'll call them in a bit so we can hear about their experiences as well. So this is a little kind of snippet of what we are doing with the Rural Micro Entrepreneurship Incubator. Thank you so much.
Thanks. So I don't think the city officials are here. So one of the things that I would like you to explain is, how is the city and how is the Zilla Panchayat involved in this program?
So in like I had mentioned, they are a partner on the program, and the Indian government for a long time has actually had livelihood development missions for many years. Like we have a program called the National Rural Livelihood Mission, which is a poverty alleviation program for rural India. And this is a scheme that really touches the poorest of poor in Indian communities. So they do training for getting access to the job market or to be entrepreneurs. So we actually worked very closely with that mission here in Udupi, and the Zilla Parishad head was very closely involved with it, and they really struggle with creating market linkages. They continue to create these training programs because there's a policy and funding support behind it. There has to be connections with the market to be, for this to be successful. They've been really supportive in helping us identify, some of the participants in the cohort. Also, there's a lot of challenges to kind of, set your business up. So they've been kind of helping mentor some of these entrepreneurs to, to kind of walk through the minefield of regulations or certifications needed to participate. And they have told us that they will help us in marketing some of these products. There are tourism boards in both these districts. So we've been, they're saying that they will support promoting these community-based tourism entrepreneurs as well.
Another question that I had for you, Pratima, is what makes this program different from what has been done before?
I think the big difference with, I have worked on incubators before at the Urban Vision. If you look at our work, we have a urban innovation lab, which is very focused on looking at products and services that make urban life more sustainable and inclusive. And there we are working with urban entrepreneurs, and the kind of, a lot of things you take a lot of things for granted because the entrepreneurs are so much more sophisticated. They already, understand how to do a lot of the basic things. Here, for me, I think I was, I think it takes so much more effort to build the foundation for these entrepreneurs. Like, the women on this program, they do live in the village, and our villages still have so many patriarchal structures. I mean, a lot of those things, as someone who grew up in the city, and I did not understand that. I remember we had a workshop a few weeks ago before this third wave hit us, and it was in the evening, and all of them were getting calls from their husbands or brothers or fathers to be back home, and it was 4 p.m. in the evening. And there's so many of those social kind of frameworks that we are unaware of. So even just the act of all of these women coming together to set up their own micro business makes them so much more confident. And I think a big focus for us will be being very strong about the market linkages. As you know, we are already connected. My family actually has a group of leisure hospitality resorts in the area. So we will be directly connecting them to the tourists who are coming here. We're working very closely with the tourism boards to ensure that the market linkages happens. I think they will continue to learn by doing, but I think giving them access to market and really making this a real livelihood option is what will make this incubator more successful.
Thanks, Pratima, for that overview of the program. So for all those who've joined us a little late, we are talking about the Responsible Tourism Incubator for Rural Women in Udupi district of Karnataka, which is on the west coast of India. And this was partly sponsored by Vital Voices through the Fortune program alumni grant, which is by the US State Department. So I'm also going to invite Manira Alva, who is from that district originally. She's based now out of New Jersey. She's a senior vice president with Vital Voices. Manira, welcome, first of all. And second is, Vital Voices does a lot for women's economic empowerment. So I wanted you to share some of your thoughts on this topic, also from your past experiences, knowing the region and why it's important to take the development to the women and not always, invest in other areas like in urban areas where it's easy to do, it's easy to invest in development.
Thank you, Elsa, and hello to all our guests on this webinar. It's a very, very interesting space for me. What you all don't know is that almost 18 years ago, my husband and I set up this little eco resort slightly up the coast from Pratima towards Goa. And he's an environmental engineer, so that whole idea of ecotourism was something really strong. And believe it or not, but the United Nations declared 2002 as the year for ecotourism. So here we are 20 years later, and I think we are at the right place at the right time, so to say, because all these things take time. We know that travel is this hugely growing industry, and that ecotourism is one of the fastest growing sectors within tourism, right? And when we think about ecotourism, we really think about staying closer to our roots. So that is where this whole, rural or meeting you where you are of situation comes to play, which we have seen globally really works for women. Now, I do not say that in a patriarchal manner. Yes, there are shades of patriarchy, but I believe that any opportunity that gives women the ability to exercise their agency, to work, to earn, and to create these spaces where they step out of their usual roles is something that has to be encouraged. It's as simple as that. And we work with women across the world, from human rights defenders to economic entrepreneurs to political leaders to, across the spectrum, right? And one thing that we are just 100% sure of is that with a little kind of help, with a little mentoring, with a little network, there's just no stopping women leaders, unfortunately. And I say women leader because I see the woman entrepreneur as a woman leader, right? If she is able to come up with a bold idea, is able to have this driving force that fuels her forward, has to unite across lines that divide, because there will be opposition, from your first level, your family, then from your community, then from your competitors. So it's all these various things. When they come together, we really see leadership. And through that leadership, we believe the most important part of ecotourism will be fulfilled, which is the sustainability of that environment. To us, that is really the main goal. It's taking care of that fragile ecosystem within which you live, and really making this kind of tourism sustainable. So that is why also in all our work now, we are integrating that whole sustainability and climate piece to everything we do, because it does not matter how successful you are economically, unless you are safeguarding, the ecology and the environment and everything, which is why ecotourism is really so important. Elsa, I don't know if I've answered your question, but I think I've answered pieces to it, right?
Yes, you have. And, when you spoke about, creating that network of support, um, one of the challenges that we are having with this incubator that we are doing in Udupi is that language becomes a barrier, because when you meet women where they are, you need to provide resources in their language in a manner that they can consume, right? So right now, in the midst of COVID, everything is digital. They don't have access, or they are struggling with access. If you organize an in-person meet, given the poor transportation options, they are always thinking about their transport back home. So even 4 p.m. becomes too late for them. So you're always struggling what's the right time to host these events. And the last thing is the mentorship. We have, even in Vital Voices programs, mentoring is such a huge part. But for mentoring for these women, you need access to people who speak the language that they do. And we are struggling with that. So can you share, because Vital Voices provides global programs, how do you, in a way, find these resources that can actually meet women where they are?
So I can share some of the best practices that we have learned from our women leaders, right? So in terms of experiential travel, I remember, I'll give you one or two examples. One is something similar in experiential travel and cooking, right? Cooking a regional kind of a dish or whatever. So what this person improvised was to make the recipe cards in a language. So there is, like, when experiential travel happens, there is a recipe card which is, say, in English or French or Spanish, if that is the country, I mean, that is the language they're reaching out to. And there are instructions. So finally, what you are seeing is the physical cooking. You're following it on a recipe card. And then it is, you're connecting through, through emotion, through expression, and through things like that. So that is one thing I remember learning, I mean, hearing about from someone doing experiential cooking. The other one, which I found fascinating, was, an example that came from Botswana about, that was not totally ecotourism, but it is a link between ecology and tourism. So they would bring in flowers from some fancy place and spend tons of money for this fancy hotel in Botswana, until a conservation kind of specialist went in there and actually picked up shrubs and what are considered weeds and whatever is local, and showed them how they could make the most amazing flower arrangements with what would come from what was locally available, and included women in that whole process of creating these beautiful kind of flower decorations. I thought that was amazing because it roots out that whole transportation, everything looking a certain kind of exotic, and really it fitting into the environment, right? And through that process, the local community earning really well, and the whole kind of ecosystem changed there because the women started earning a lot. There's a third example of the link between technology and ecotourism, right? So you need to figure out if there's a technology incubator. I'm sure there will be in Mangalore, and it is getting groups together to work on solutions, right? Because we know that in terms of numbers, India is the fastest growing smartphone population. We know that there is an entire generation who might have missed out on it, but there's this entire generation that is doing phenomenal stuff. So it could be that the women in your incubator have someone in the family, maybe a child or a sibling or a cousin or someone in that joint family who has that skill. And it is a question of like training the trainer. So doing a little workshop with who would be the tech buddy and getting it together. So we do some stuff with Airbnb, and I remember them telling us, this was of course before the pandemic, about how they were working with the women of India. They had made a commitment, and they were working with Seva out of Gujarat, which has some amount of rural experiential traveling, and that they were investing in some very basic, simple technology teaching for women who were considered first-time users. So it's a question of these linkages, because if you think, this is a gap, I promise you 100 people have thought of it as a gap before you, right? And another 100 people have been figuring out how to fix that gap. So I believe that these linkages between various groups could also come up with great results. These are just 2 or 3 examples that I could share with you on what really blew my brains out, especially the Botswana one. When I heard of it, was just phenomenal, I thought.
And that's true, and we've tied up with the Welcome Group Hotel Management School, which is one of the premier, hotel management schools in the country. And they were using local products like a flour, a blue pea flour, which, now is marketed on Amazon as highly antioxidant and good for your skin and good for your health, etc. And this is locally grown in the Udupi region, and how you can make a welcome drink out of it. And if you add lime, the color changes. So you can also, create that excitement when you're, welcoming your guests and trying to attract them. So these are just some of the tips that we've been sharing with them. And in our incubator, we have women who are first-time entrepreneurs. Some of them are very young, just out of college. And then there are some who've been, who are really, their children have flown the home and they have time on hands and want to do something different with their lives. So thank you, Manira, for that. And now I'm going to invite, one of the entrepreneurs to really share her experience. So may I call on Tanvi to talk about her experience?
Tanvi, are you here? So this is Tanvi is one of our star entrepreneurs. And she also represents India as a surfer and a stand-up paddling a sports person. And she's super inspiring. And I want her to share your story.
Hello, thank you so much for the opportunity, Pratima. So my name is Tanvi. I'm 21 years old and I am born in Mulki, but I am in Udupi now. So I am India's one of the first professional stand-up paddler. So I've been surfing since 11 years and one of the first female to surf in the country too. So as my journey a little bit, I started surfing when I was 9, and when I started surfing for the first time, nobody knew what surfing was, and a girl surfing in my village was like a huge thing. And like I did not get any support other than my grandfather and my grandmom always pushing me that, hey, you can do it, don't worry about it. And then like from there, like always like continuing and working hard, like representing India in the World Cup. So I got an opportunity to represent India for the first time in the World Cup and coming top 16 in the world ranking. And currently running a surf school in Udupi. So it's been quite a journey, but starting a surf school was such a new experience for me, like from learning how to do the paperwork and setting up a surf school, getting the registration done. So everything was like such a learning part of my life, because first of all I didn't have anybody particular to guide me, but then like as you have already taken that step of like like okay, let's do it. The worst thing is going to happen that I'm going to fail and I'm going to get up again, but then like I learned so much and I met such amazing people like Fatima. Like she inspires me, like every time I meet her at Paradise Lagoon, like we have such wonderful conversation. So like it's been quite a journey, but like as when I started the surf school, because in India surfing, if you see, there are only male instructors. So when I did a recce like a survey in 2016, why are there no girls surfing in India? And most of them replied to me saying that, I'm not comfortable learning with boys teaching. Like I'm not saying all the boys are like that, but even if one incident happens, most of us are like, look, I do not want to learn in such condition. So that's when I did my international certification. So right now, like Cuddle Surf School, the surf school which I run, is the only surf school in India which is female as a head coach. And that's such a huge thing for a surf school, because when we started the surf school, we got so many girls coming to learn surfing just because a female instructor is teaching over there. So for me, it's like such an honor. And one more big thing, like I'm a local here, so people feel more safe, and because we know the water better. And when they come down to Udupi, we tell them like what are the things to do here, and like what are the places to explore, the little bit more depth culture of Udupi. So it's just so wonderful. So it's a little about my journey. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And I've actually just posted a link. I will also post her website. So if you're ever here, come by and learn to surf or paddleboard with Tanvi. And she's 21 years, but she is so inspiring to the cohort of women entrepreneurs here. She's really broken a lot of, patriarchal norms of how women should be. So thank you, Tanvi, for sharing that. We also have Disha here, who's she's a first-time entrepreneur as well. Disha?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. So tell us what your project is and
Hello, everyone. My name is Disha. I've just completed my graduation in hotel management. my passion is cooking. I love cooking. I was doing internship in one of the hotels in Bangalore. Due to pandemic, they told us to leave the hotel. So I came back to my hometown. After that, I was searching for jobs and all, and Pratima ma'am called me and asked to join Place Explore. So as cooking is my passion, and I've dreamt of making my own business, starting my own business. So I thought it's a great opportunity, and for a start to gain experience, so I've joined Place Explore. It's one of uh, an opportunity that ma'am gave me. So I'm very happy for that. Thank
Disha,
you.
tell us which parts of our programming helped you, and also tell us what are the other things you need to make this business idea into a reality.
Well, first cooking classes. I've not had an idea of starting a cooking classes. Ma'am gave me an idea that I can do that also. Instead of working in a hotel, becoming a chef, I can become my own entrepreneur. I can do my own job. So that helped me a lot to think that I can do my own cooking classes and everything. So Place Explore workshops have helped me. I'm very weak in communication a little bit, so for communications and everything other parts, they've given us a lot to think what we can do and how we can start a class, and what the guest are like, what guest wants from us, and that and all things ma'am have told us, like last workshop with the Son sir. So that has given me a lot of idea to how to start a cooking class, and how I can um, sorry for that. Okay, how I can entertain my guests. I can show them around the marketplaces. I can take them to fish markets, tell them about the fishes, all those things I've learned. And moreover, I'm just starting now. So I need a place to start up. So Pratima ma'am has told me that in the hotel, they give a place for us to start. And it's a great opportunity for me. Thank you.
Tanvi, you actually, had already set up a business, but you also found it useful to participate in this program. Do you want to share, as a women entrepreneur in a little village in India, what are the challenges, and how, what kind of support did the incubator give you, and what else do you need as an entrepreneur to thrive? Tanvi? And speak a little bit about being a woman and an entrepreneur in a small place, in a village like Udupi as well.
Yeah. So basically, the first thing for us to find a place was very challenging, because when you're finding a place where you can set up the surf school, it's very important to understand how the ocean is. So we had to do so much recce and then finalize the place. But then again, when you finalize a place, I had to run around the offices so many times, like hundreds of documents. And even after having those documents, they were like, maybe even this is not right. I was made to stay at certain places till 8:30 at night, because the permission letter had to be signed. So like because there was no clear picture that to get a surf school registered, or like if there is a new place you're setting up, what are the documents we wanted. So every new place I went, they were telling new things. So but as the process, I met so many people, and like I spoke to them, like what do I do about it? I do not have any idea. And So I would really tell my story, and they would be so inspired that a girl in India is starting a surf school, that too in Malpe. So they were like really happy, and like, you know, we would have so much conversation. At end of the day, like they would tell me like, this is certain documents you need. So that is one thing I learned through the journey. It was very, very hard, definitely, because we worked so hard for the documents. Even having a certification and, you know, international life saving course, and like all the other documents, even the documents which we had for the land, there was so much process involved in it. So, you know, from this program, like I'm definitely learning one step at a time, like how do I set up, like it's already set up, how I can improvise it, you know, like, making the experience of students better, like as they're coming into the surf school every single day. Because we get people from all over India, and like most of them are coming to Udupi for the first ever time. So like they're always so happy seeing Malpe. So yeah, I'm looking forward to learn more. And yeah, it's been like quite an experience. So like one thing like I would like ask and like help from like Pratima also, like if there is like one set of a format which like somebody can get, if there are more people setting up a surf school or like a water sports center, like a proper guide, like how, like what are the documents you need, because then like we can also take care of the safety, and you can also take care like what are the documents that need to be required. So then
I
like
think
we'll
this is
all have,
this is a big challenge of running a business in India, which a lot of outsiders may not relate to, because we have piles of certificates and
yeah,
licenses
so
to
many
get
LLCs.
start a business. Manira.
Tanvi, I have a quick question.
Yes.
So I am curious about how the people along the coast react to girls and women in swimsuits when they are surfing, or do you have issues and pushback in that space? It's just a random question, I know, but I think it's an important question coming from, the boundaries that are expected of girls and women, and how you have negotiated those boundaries. Would love to know.
So, since 2009, I was 9 years old. I was treated very badly, like, or spoke like in a very weird way just to wear surf clothing. And, you know, I was expected to wear salwar to surfing, and I'm like, something is going to happen to me if I'm going to wear that, you know. People were so uncomfortable wearing, like seeing me wear, a 9-year-old kid wear a surf short and a, you know, a rash guard, like not even a bikini. Like I would wear like proper surf clothing, which would be full sleeve t-shirt and a shorts, because I'm comfortable surfing with that. And I'm 21 years old and I still face the problem. And like the best way I have reacted is like by achieving, you know. I never reacted to them, because I felt the more energy I'm going to put in to respond back to them, they're just going to enjoy the fact that they irritate me a lot. But then like I never gave a damn. But it's the same in Malpe. Whenever I'm teaching or when I'm surfing, people are staring, you know. But the locals are not like that. It's sometimes the other tourists who come to the beach. So that is something like, as the year passed, I have become so bold enough not to give like even a thought about it. Like I enjoy myself being in the water. So I think that is something it's going to take time in India. But yeah, like I'm just like, I always make sure like I'm wearing like proper surf clothing. Of course, I respect the culture and the tradition I come from. So, but like, I don't think so. Wearing a salwar and surfing is like ever going to happen from my side.
If you go to her Instagram page, you'll see her surfing in a sari as well, Manira. So
I find
encourage it.
I remember seeing something about everything they're doing with their saris on, right? Including skateboarding. And I remember that. Yeah.
No, but
I
there
That's
is
awesome.
a video of Tanvi surfing in her saris. But I have to say that just the act, we are so proud to see this in our little village, because just the act of having a 21-year-old surfing school entrepreneur in our little village, it's such a, it's such a kind of inspiration, and it's
and
such a great story. And you are the vanguard for so many women who will come in the next so many decades into this place, and you'll make their lives so much more easier.
And
I
Pratham,
want to add one thing. Is it okay?
yeah, just one moment. I wanted to say to you, Tanvi, because you were talking about compiling, a form of all the requisite documents, right? We tried to find you a mentor from the Sports Authority of India, and there's nobody doing what you're doing in India. So it was really a struggle to find somebody. Hi, Manina.
I'll find you a mentor.
Okay,
I'll
great.
find
Oh,
you.
thank you so much.
And why
Yeah.
from India? You'll find a girl from somewhere around the world who's doing exactly what you are. We'll get you a mentor.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So you
the-
wanted to say something, Tanvi?
Yeah, so back in 2009, when I was surfing, right, I was just one girl or max to max two girls surfing in the water. And a 9-year-old Tanvi would never ever dream of, like, I had a dream, it would be so nice to see so many girls surfing. But after achieving so much, and so many girls like look up to the achievements I've done. And when today at the surf school, I'm surfing with so many girls around me and catching such beautiful waves. So like I really, really believe, like there is nothing that can stop you when nature shows you the way. So like from 2009, there's no girl surfing, to 2021, like there's so many girls coming to like learn surfing. Like we get more girl applicants like to like learn surfing with us. So that's like a huge, like, I don't know, it's like an honor for me to teach them as well.
Thank you for sharing that, Tanvi. And, when Disha was speaking, I was really thinking about, when you bring this kind of life skills to a small rural place, you're actually engaging all of the community. Because, for example, when they see somebody like Tanvi breaking the norm, then you're suddenly opening the floodgates for everybody else to do that. When Disha starts her cooking and culinary courses, she's talking about the local culture. So, and people are more interested. See, like we said earlier at the start of the session, there's civil unrest in this part of the country right now. So our two speakers who are government officials couldn't make it. But the more we learn about each other and we appreciate each other, we are actually building peace and trust and community in that little space. And I think if we can do more of that, we are not going to focus on the differences, but more on, what do we have in common, or what can we appreciate about that difference that makes us unique, as Pratima rightly said. So with that, I'm going to open up, for questions from the audience. I know Rani Shenoy says, nothing can stop you when nature shows you the way. It's an excellent quote. I agree. And
No, it's Tanvi's quote. It's
yeah. I know.
but
And
I think
said,
it was so well said.
great.
It came from our heart.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Is there any question? Please raise your hand, or I know Bradley is here, and I know Bradley does a lot in northern India. So Bradley, would you like to share with us what you're doing in northern India? People who come to my events know that I just put people on the spot. I'm sorry. I'm just going through the list to see who else is around. Cool. Yeah. So, Pratima, do you want to share any more experiences of, some of these entrepreneurs and their unique, unique
today,
services that they are trying to bring to the world?
I think, you met today with two of the youngest members of the cohort. So you have, women who are even grandmothers on the program, and, they're talking about how to, knit or make a basket, or, one of them has a nursery. So she's going to teach you how to make like a herb garden or like organic garden. There are artists who will help you learn, pottery, women who will take you on heritage walks or hikes. So you have like a pretty wide segment of experiences, and yeah, I'm really excited to bring the marketplace of experience online, and I think. I think we are sitting here in the UN Commission of Social Development, and Elsa and I have both been we've been in public policy school, and we've spoken so much about democracy and how do you do democratic development of the country or communities that you're in. And I feel like entrepreneurship and focusing on women micro entrepreneurship, can really go to the heart of the, so many challenges that we see within our communities, and, pave that road for empowerment. There are so many ways of obviously cracking this challenge, but I'm like happy to be doing this. It's so, it's so positive, and working in the world of public policy and politics, it's sometimes very, very disheartening. So I love this way of, making change happen. And I think these women entrepreneurs are so inspiring, the challenges that they have to deal with, and how much the amount of, dedication and heart that they have to kind of battle everything that they have to deal with every day. And if they can create a livelihood for themselves through these kind of economic models, we need to kind of start working on these kind of micro interventions, and then maybe take it to government officials and say, scale this up, do this in every district. And I think that's the goal that we have with this project as well. So if we can actually, showcase that, you can actually create a livelihood out of this. And, if these women can, using their already existing amazing talent, create a livelihood for themselves. And, that's the start of empowerment, and it'll kind of break a lot of the age-old shackles that the communities have lived through in these places. So yeah, and when Tanvi said that, her grandfather, who was from another generation, kind of, encouraged her to do this. It doesn't happen in every household. A lot of the women entrepreneurs who are on the cohort are battling mindsets and issues within their own families, which doesn't allow them to get out and get access to their own livelihood. So I think it's one small drop in the ocean, but I think we need to scale up interventions such as this in other sectors as well. And I think because we were so keen on market linkages and ensuring that they have to get access to customers and business out of this. And we still have to see that part of the challenge, because I think the next 6 months is going to be about that, ensuring that the participants of this cohort actually can make a livelihood out of this platform. And obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic, which has disrupted everything, we have to kind of take it slower than usual. But we do need like a repository of these kind of micro interventions, so then you can scale it up from a public policy thing. So I'd love to see more case studies. It could be in agriculture, it could be in other kind of agri-oriented industries, or even in urban areas. We do need to rethink how economic development is happening, and how do you create these kind of little micro initiatives to ensure that you take everybody along. Even though the last couple of years, it's been a terrible economic time for most people. We've seen so much of livelihood and job loss across the world. the capital markets are at the, highest that they've ever been. So there is a desperate need to reimagine our, economic models, reimagine our social contracts, and, really invest in public policy that can deliver for everyone. And I think we need to see more case studies like this. And we are a work in process. Yeah, we'll have to see how. I'd love to come back here next year and say how much job, like how many livelihood did we create, how many,
And I do,
did we really.
I do want to tell everyone that we have got a further grant from the SIDBI, which is the Small Industries Development Bank of India, to scale this to 100 women entrepreneurs. And so we are looking to start our next batch of women, and they are all women, 100 women. So in the states of Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Goa, all along the coast. And we are sticking to tourism and wellness. So that's what we are going to do. And there's a related question from Rani. Rani, do you want to state your question? Do you want to speak up?
Oh, sure. So I'm in Colorado in the United States, and I got your email because of the Mangalorean Forum. And though this meeting was super early for me, I said, I've got to wake up and listen to this because this is close to my heart to help women and escape our patriarchy. I'm not connected to the travel industry in any way. I work as a physician here in Colorado, and but my parents are from Mangalore, and all this kind of thing. So my roots are back there. But there are many universities who have hospitality management. For example, Cornell is one of the most known. Here in Denver, we have University of Denver, where people come from all over the world to study hospitality management. And what I see in these programs, they actually have interns going to India and going to different countries. So they bring back, ideas of tourism all around the world to just as an exchange of ideas. And I thought, maybe these interns are going to want to travel to Udpi and serve as mentors to your young women who want to learn. So that was my idea. It's a very rough idea, but I just had to express it.
Thanks, Rani. And we have actually tied up with one of the topmost hospitality schools in Manipal, which is down the road. And they've been providing a lot of the trainings. But you're right, we need lots of hands on deck. So we'll reach out to the other schools and see how they can, because now we have these 35 women, we have another 30 men or 28 men in the program because there's 66. And then we have the new 100. So we'll have enough to keep everybody engaged and lots to do. So yeah, so we'll
I
just
want to add, Elsa, that, there's obviously the training programs, but I think the secret sauce to success to an entrepreneur is mentorship. As an entrepreneur myself, I was so lucky to have a series of mentors through my journey as an entrepreneur. And I know Vital Voices, the mentoring walk, I participated in it, Manira, and it's so powerful, even as a mentor. And I really think it's the secret sauce to create that buddy system, someone whom we can ask even the silliest question or kind of go to if you're, finding something challenging. And it's been challenging here because of language. We need mentors who can speak local languages, which is Tulu and Kannada, which was another challenge we didn't anticipate, because, when you work in the urban setup, you take a lot of things for granted, like the language, right? So here, I think that was another challenge that we encountered. And what we are trying to do right now is to create small group mentorship clinics. So we create that safe space where they can thrive and grow. And I really think that mentorship is the secret sauce for making a great incubator, because obviously we have been really lucky to have had access to the Waksha School, I mean, the School of Hotel Management, which is the #1 school of hospitality and tourism in the country, and I think among the top 20s in the world. And they've been a great support system. But it's not just the content. I think you need someone who can, help them deal with, like a series of different life challenges. And I can vouch for that myself. I've had such amazing mentors who really helped me when I set up my business almost a decade ago, and I still go to them because it's challenges are, they're constant, and you need someone to guide you, and that safe space to kind of grow and thrive. And I think I and Elsa have been really talking about this mentorship piece, and it's been a challenge just because of the language and obviously with the pandemic, especially to get everybody together has been another.
Meera, do you want to
challenge.
comment on the mentorship bit? Or I saw your hand was raised as well.
Yeah, I was just, as we were talking, a couple of thoughts that came together. One is the idea of maybe one or two of the businesses from the incubator actually going together. For example, you have a surfing session, and then you come back and you have this meal or something in that place, right? So you're combining maybe 2 or 3 sometimes, who knows, kind of incubator folks together. That's just one thought. And the second thought is something that I feel, is we don't really pay enough attention to, but it's that whole entrepreneurship piece, as opposed to plain hospitality training or anything, right? Because the journey of an entrepreneur is very different. As a home, as someone who wants to do this cooking class compared to a chef in a hotel, the journey is going to be very different. So a little bit of that entrepreneurship kind of mentoring or training or curriculum sometimes goes a long way, if we could just consider that. And the third thing which I wanted to say is, we saw it right from the 1990s when India introduced reservations for women in panchayats, right? And that whole cycle of coming out and the pushback and eventually realizing that they were phenomenal at their jobs. So there will be initial pushback, patriarchal structures will try and play their role. But we have seen in India, especially, that when women start to earn money, when they start to get the respect of their community, when they become these change makers and opinion creators, everything changes in that same space within which there was so much pushback. So also looking at maybe a mentorship with, we have so many women panchayat leaders at the local level who have gone through this same cycle. They could also be incredible mentors and have come to understand the system. So just a few thoughts as we were talking.
Manira, we actually did explore that, clubbing of these clubbing of several products. For example, whenever you go to any world-class tourist site, they always take your picture and they try to sell you the picture. So we have artists in our group, and we said, why not tie up with the surf school? So every time somebody goes surfing or it's their first experience, you can capture that in picture form, for example, or the meal or whatever. So that's a great idea, and we'll work on that to create it like a dual package. I also wanted to say that, we've had this entrepreneurial curriculum, but again, we've used it in urban settings, and we've had to literally make it so simple and unpack it over a period of time, because I don't know how to say it. It's just like, it's like baby steps. You have to, otherwise they get so overwhelmed, then you will, scare them off. And we want to encourage entrepreneurship, but we are doing it, and we are learning a lot in the process, because we have hosted lots of these entrepreneurial challenges in the urban setting, and we cannot replicate them in the rural setting. So that's been our biggest learning from this program. Tanvi, we have a question for you from Nikita Jha saying, what's been your inspiration? Sorry, what keeps you motivated?
And also, what has been her inspiration? What keeps her going? Um, um, I mean, there are days when you try to do a particular thing, but you're just stuck, and you don't know uh, how to do it, where to go from there on. So yeah, so what keeps her motivated, and what is her inspiration? What happens when she's in the water surfing? What does she feel? All of that.
Okay. So first of all, not every day like I'm motivated. I do have very bad days, because the field I am in, like there is so many new things I'm learning. So like first of all, like I'm always like figuring out how to do things, like how to like when you're planning and you're executing something, it can be simple as like hosting an amazing campaign, because every Women's Day we do something crazy at the surf school. But I remember in 2018, I missed a World Cup because I didn't have enough funds. And then like I did work hard and I went for an event. That's when I really understood what I am capable of. Like being in a position, missing a World Cup with just little funds and going to an Asian series and coming top 3 in the Asian series. So like there has been a lot of days like where there, like I had no can believe in myself, like, but remembering that there are so many people who have supported me in this journey. And of course, like ocean is like, I have seen freedom surfing every single day. And like through like teaching, like one of the biggest goal is like by teaching more people about the ocean sport, like I'm protecting the ocean. Like that's what knowledge, or that's what impact I want to give to my students. So this keeps me motivated every single day. And like even if I have a bad day, I am stronger 10 times more. Like today also I had a bad day, but then like I just like got up and like, okay, let's do this. Because it's just going to happen. And it's all past, it's like all part of life. Because my friend Rohan always says like, you have to experience lows and highs in life like bravely, so don't worry about it, it's going to happen.
Right, perfect. And what do you feel when you're in the water? What is the feeling
I
when you're
forget that
surfing?
I run a surf school. I'm a little girl there, catching, like always spotting dolphins in Malpe Beach, like oh, saying hi. And then I'm a small girl there, like
Right,
like I just forget about everything. I'm just catching a wave, or I'm stand-up paddling super fast from island to island in Swarna River. So like it's just the best feeling in the world to see the land, or like the beautiful world from the water, because that's my playground. So like
right.
I just feel like I'm part of this universe in a very beautiful way of like, I'm just me, I'm just being me. Even if I'm
Perfect, perfect.
alone there in the ocean, because all my life for 10 years I had to practice alone in the ocean, and I had dolphins accompanying me every day in my training. That's the best feeling ever. So like every
Right,
day I go out to the ocean, like it's so different for me. So I don't know, it keeps me motivated. Ocean gives me like ocean keeps me grounded, and also tells me that I'm capable of so many things, so I should never give up.
On
Right.
that note, Tanvi, I think thank you so much. I am sure everyone over here is motivated to come and visit Udupi at the earliest chance and take that opportunity to learn to surf with you and watch those dolphins. So thank you so much. And like Manira says, you know, one wave at a time. And I think putting women at the center of this responsible tourism, sustainable development is key in peace building and building community and bringing prosperity and bringing change, the positive change that we all need to this region. And my heart is going out to all the girls currently in Udupi who are fighting for their right to an education. So let's keep them in our prayers. And thank you everyone for joining. If Disha can switch on her video, we can take a quick picture, and then I'd like everyone to also put on their video so that we can take a picture. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3 big smiles. So thank you, Disha and Tanvi. Y'all really brought in a lot of energy to this conversation. Thank you, Manira and Pratima as well. And now I'm going to get everybody to put on their videos as well so that we can take a group picture. So thank you. And if you want to get in touch, if you speak Tulu, Kannada, Hindi, English, want to be a mentor for this program, do let us know, or support in any way. We are happy to do that. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you, Manira, Vital Voices, and the US State Department for, you know, giving us an opportunity to do this pilot. It was the first time we were trying something out. So thanks. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to stop the recording.